Hi guys. Tonight's discussion is on something which is important to anyone who's using ciphers, and it involves true randomness. True randomness. That is opposed to pseudo random. Now, pseudo-random numbers you will find being generated by a computer. Okay? And over the years there's been many algorithms, some very complex, to generate random numbers. The problem is that anything created by this is not truly random, because it often relies on a seed number and also an algorithm. An algorithm is a certain mathematical formula that creates numbers, or a string of numbers, that kind of look like random. Look like random. Can't see that, can you? It's off the side of the screen. Isn't that random? Okay, it's not random. It's just poor camera work. So our discussion here is, what is a true random number, and how do we avoid pseudo-random numbers? Well, we avoid pseudo-randoms by not using this. Okay? We need to use a technology that creates real randomness. And how do you create real randomness? Well, randomness has a lot to do with chaos. Things happening without a reason, without mental adjustment, which humans are so fond of doing. So let's stop here for a minute while I clear the screen. Okay, sorry, I had to change my batteries there because this particular camera eats batteries at an alarming rate. So how are we going to create true randoms? Well, we're going to use the tried and true method, and that is throwing dice. Why do dice do such a good job? Well, because you shake them up good, and if you bounce them off things like the backboard and have a good little throw tray here like we have here, it's exceedingly unpredictable. There's a lot of stuff happening which is almost impossible to recreate. This type of controlled chaos creates a non-reproducible set of numbers. Now, one of the things that computer programs tend to do, because we're control freaks, is we'll get annoyed if we write an algorithm to create random numbers and only a small portion of the total number sequence is being used. For example, let's say we're writing an algorithm to create numbers from 1 through 100, okay? Now, if most of our numbers when we start to run our algorithm are going to be below, let's say, 30, we're going to be like, WTF, something wrong with my algorithm, because I'm not getting numbers above 30, right? So we'll tend to adjust the algorithm until we get a nice, consistent spread in the area between 1 and 100. Then we'll say, hey, I did my job good. Right? Yeah. Wrong. That's not how random numbers work. Random numbers are exceedingly unpredictable. Let's take a look at this little key code I made for another video. And I made this for use with the Mexican Army cipher disk. But I want you to pay attention to this second set of numbers I generated. And we're going across here, even though there's 2 columns. I was really looking for 4 numbers. Notice the second set I generated. 1527. Now this can be any number in this column from 1 to 26, and this second set here can be any number from 27 to 52. And yet, look what I got, 1527, and then the very next throw I get 1528. One number off, okay? That type of goofy, chaotic randomness doesn't tend to happen with pseudo-random numbers because programmers will program that out of it. They'll go, no, I don't like that. It should be definitely spread out further. Okay? And this type of goofy randomness happens at a strange and almost alarming rate when you're throwing dice to create true randoms. There is also a few other ways, such as watching electrons hop orbits with certain types of materials, elements, and also counting incoming cosmic rays. It's another way to create true randoms. But the same chaos behavior happens here. This chaos behavior, this true randomness, makes it very difficult for people trying to break a code to zero in on what you're using, because human rationale, when you have so many numbers to pick from, would think that you would not pick a number that's one digit off from where you were. So it is exactly this type of craziness that helps secure your code. And it is why using true randoms with ciphers is so important. So when you're using your cipher, you develop a method where you can include some type of randomness into the equation, into the coding process. And this will go a long way to making sure that it's very secure. There are many cool dice out now. I buy most of my dice on eBay. There's a company that I really like called G2 Collectibles and Hobbies. They're out of Worthington, Ohio, and he sells quite a bit on eBay. Or you can visit his website at g2ch.com. g2ch.com. You can go there and check out all the different dice he sells. He sells some really cool dice, like this is a 12-sided dice that has the numbers 1 through 4 in it 3 times. It works really good for generating randoms 1 to 4. There we get a 4. There's many cool types of dice like this Roman numeral dice. It's also a 1 to 4 dice. Or die, if you prefer. There is also a dice where you can randomly generate any letter of the alphabet. Hang on for a second, I'll show you that. Yeah, so check this out. This is a 30-sided dice. Actually has a big name that starts with try something or other. I can't remember it right now, but anyways, it has the 26 letters of the alphabet and then has wild on it 4 times to fill in the other 4 spaces. But this is great for using with ciphers such as a one-time pad, because you can create a truly random string of numbers. So we get a Y, we get an N. Yes, I'm on a little bit of a slope here. I'm slope throwing this. We get an X, we get an S, we get a Y, which means we throw again. We get a U. So this is a great way to generate true random letters to be used with something like a one-time pad. When you use true randoms and when you use true random alphabets or something like this, all of a sudden people who are looking at your stuff with supercomputers get very interested, because your algorithm is not identifiable. It's not identifiable because you're not using an algorithm. You're using true randomness. And that makes a big difference. It makes your code much more difficult to decipher. with computers. And it requires either brute force, which means often a supercomputer, or it requires many, many hours of work with a cryptographer who will try to get as much information as possible as he can about you and what you've been doing to try to figure out what the heck your cryptogram is based on. So these are just a few of the things I wanted to go over with you today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So what I have to say in parting is just roll on and enjoy your dice with your ciphers.